I did it, guys. I went out and I bought the Nikon ZR. Okay, so the main thing and the main selling point for this camera is the fact that you can shoot red codec with it, the R3D red codec, raw video, 6K 60, and that is amazing. But when I first took this camera out of the box, the first thing that stood out to me is the screen. And trust me, I watched a ton of YouTubers talk about how impressive and how big the screen is, but you're not really ready for it until you have one in your hand. And I don't know if the video translates it properly, but this is a massive screen. It's really big and it's really interesting. Like the whole back of the camera essentially is the screen, and you just have like this, it's like 90% screen and just 10% button. So the screen really stands out for me, and it was so interesting to video and even take pictures with it using that screen. So the screen stands out to me. The next thing is the grip. This camera's grip is a bit shallow. Personally, I don't mind. I've seen some people complain about it, but I mean, I'm going to put a relatively long lens on it. Once you have any kind of lens on it, right here, you see that it's easy to carry like this, and then you have this. So personally, I think I'll take this, having the camera having a smaller form factor than having a grip, because I can always hold my lens or hold the camera like this. Besides, most times I'll probably be using this on a gimbal or something like that. I've never really felt like I could drop it, even though it's not as comfortable as something, say, like my Z9, but definitely a better grip than the ZFC that is filming me right now. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about on the body of this camera is the buttons. Now, having a large screen comes with its drawbacks, because you're filling most of the back of the camera with your screen. It means that this camera has not as much buttons. So for example, it doesn't have a D-pad like an up down, it just has a joystick. And if I'm being honest, the joystick can be a pain sometimes to use. I mean, you have this really big screen, and I think Nikon wants you to use this screen, okay? They want you to use this screen to, go through your menus, go to your settings, do everything you want to do. You can just do it on the touch screen, but I don't know about you guys, for most of us, we're so used to using the directional pad. So right on the back of the camera, you have the joystick, you have the menu button, and you have the play button. That's all the buttons you have at the back of the camera, which is kind of crazy. I mean, I'm coming from using a Z9, that's my daily driver, and that guy has a ton of buttons. There's a button specially for white balance, there's a button specially for this, for that. The Z9 has a ton of buttons, but this guy, just these 2 buttons here and a joystick at the back, and on top here you have 3 buttons that you can then customize. I'll explain to you guys exactly what I set for my 3 buttons here in front of the camera. And then you have the on button, you have the zoom in and out button, and then you have 2 dials, and that's pretty much every single thing that's on the camera. There's also a record button here. Let me see if I can show you guys. So you can see there's a record button here that you can also customize to do different things as well. So that's something else. And then since I've been using my other Nikon cameras, my Z9, I have never actually customized any button on my lenses to do anything. But I think that now that I need extra buttons, I might need to customize special buttons on the lenses. Like these Nikon S lenses, they have buttons that you can then map to different functions. So that's pretty much everything about the buttons, but I'll just explain to you what I've mapped my different buttons to here on the camera. So I'm just going to turn it on now, and there are 3 buttons here, and they are, let me show you, they are labeled 1, 2, 3, as you can see. So what I've just done is I put 1 to control my ISO, and 2 to do white balance, and 3 is to go to my menu. So once you do my menu in Nikon, you can have a customized set of things that you think you might need quickly. So my menu is a special custom menu, and in there I have things like video file type, adjusting microphone, vibration reduction on and off, and I have all of that. Since there is no special button for iMenu or for the main menu on this camera as well, something else you might need to take advantage of or note is that the menu button does 2 things. So a soft press, one press, brings out this normal menu that we're used to seeing on Nikon cameras, and then if you do a long press, a long press brings you to the main menu on your camera. So that's just having one button kind of do 2 things, and then there are a ton of things you can then touch on the screen to get to different things. Regarding The battery, it uses the normal battery. I think it's called the ENEL15C. That's the same battery that we use in the Nikon Z6, Z6 II, Z6 III. It's a good battery. I have a ton of them as well, so no problem for me there. And for photo mode, the camera is also good. I mean, this is the exact same sensor in Nikon Z6 III, meaning that you can get really, really good image quality. But you have to note that there's no mechanical shutter in this camera, meaning that if you're shooting in certain lighting conditions, you might have things like banding, but in most situations, normal situations, it's really good. Customized shutter sounds just like the Z9, because there's no shutter, so there's no shutter sound. But yeah, so far so good. Now talking about the codecs, there's so many options to choose from this camera. I mean, I shot the Nikon Z9. I thought that one had options, but there's everything the Z9 offers, plus the additional option to shoot R3D RAW. Okay, so you can shoot R3D RAW up to 6K 60. Unfortunately, you can't shoot R3D RAW 4K 120. You can only shoot 4K 60 as well. But I gotten myself, I'm ordering a 1TB card because I noticed that my 512 card only gets me about how many minutes? About 16 minutes thereabouts. So with 1TB, you're doing 30 something minutes of footage on 6K 60 anyway. But the moment you move to 4K 60, you get a lot more time. Now this camera has 2 card slots and the internet has been going crazy about this, but you have 2 card slots here. You have one micro SD card slot and one CF Express Type B card slot. So we have a CF Express Type B in here, as you can see. Let me just focus that on. And then also we have a micro SD card. Now the micro SD card is annoying because you have to take out the battery to really be able to get a hold of it, right? So I got a 1TB one. Let me see if I can get that in focus. Okay, I got a 1TB one to put in the camera now. Some people say this card slot is useless, so I have a micro SD card slot. To me personally, I'm just going to get that 1TB and just forget it in the camera really. Imagine that my camera has internal storage of 1TB and then have a second card slot. Honestly speaking, I think it's very, very useful. But you have to note that also in my test so far, you can't record any of the raw video formats to the micro SD card slots. You can only record those to your CF Express Type B. So if you want to record Red RAW, NRAW, ProRes RAW, you can't record all those formats to the micro SD. I mean, the cards are not fast enough to handle that. But every other normal footage, your normal H.265, H.264, all of those will record directly to the micro SD if you need. But if you want to record the higher formats, you record to that. So far I have been learning over the last 3 days how to work with raw footage, because it's something that I have never done before. Even though I've had the Nikon Z9 for a couple of years now, I never shot the NRAW. I just always ended up shooting either ProRes 422 10-bit or I shot H.265. But having this now and buying this with the red being one of the major strengths of this camera, I'm starting to learn a lot on how to handle raw footage in DaVinci Resolve, and I've been making some progress. So I'll show you guys some footage that I have shot with the Nikon ZR so far. Nothing crazy, just very casual footage of me experimenting and learning how to work with Red RAW. But so far it looks so good. I like the fact that you can change ISO in after the fact. You can change your white balance, and you know the dynamic range is really, really good. And the colors look interesting. I mean, just converting from Red RAW to Rec 709, somehow the footages just look good already. So that's something that is very, very interesting. But so far, this camera, I really like it. I love the way it looks. And I mean, some people might say the way your camera looks doesn't matter, but personally, there's just something about when your camera looks good. Personally, I've also been using it a lot with this lens right here. So this is my 28mm 2.8 lens, and to think that you have a small package just like this. Now this is a really small form factor, and this is really, really powerful. So I'm planning to travel soon, and then when I travel, I'm just going to take this with this lens and just, you know, sling it around your shoulder, more like a ZFC that you're seeing here, but that's a lot of power you're packing. You can shoot raw video with this. You have the 28mm, and you can also go to DX mode, and then that way you have like a longer lens as well to shoot, maybe say around a 40mm, which I think is really, really interesting. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is my first impressions. When I get back from my trip, I'm going to do a full dive into the video so far. But did I mention that the autofocus is amazing as well? Just as good as the Z9 or the Z6 III or the Z8. So no issues whatsoever with autofocus, which is kind of amazing. So I'm really glad that I waited for this camera. I was almost buying the Z6 III, but because I already have a photo first camera like the Z9, so I'll take my time and I'll buy this instead. So this came out and immediately there was one in Nigeria to buy. I immediately ordered it and got it down here. And for the price of this camera, honestly speaking, I think it is a no-brainer. If you do any kind of video whatsoever, you do talking head videos like this, you also do videos for your clients, things like that. And it's kind of like a camera in a very, very sweet spot, in that the price range means that you can serve content creators, people that make videos, but you can also use it to do serious video work. Okay, so it's good enough that it can serve. It's just right there in the middle. It's doing amazing things. Autofocus is good, colors are good if you want to shoot red. The only thing is that you have to know that your file sizes will be really, really large. But that's something that you should be ready to manage if you want to shoot raw video. And if you don't want to shoot raw video, there's a ton of other footage, other codecs you can shoot. H.264, H.265, ProRes, ProRes 422, ProRes RAW as well. There's NRAW. So there are 3 different types of raw videos that you can get with this camera. But just look at that. It's beautiful. Okay, so what we'll do now is that let me just show you what it looks like on my other lens, which is like my biggest lens. So I'm going to put this on my 85-1.2, and this is what it looks like on the 85-1.2. That is a big camera. That's a big lens rather. So so far I really like taking it out with the 28mm that I just took it off of. That is wonderful. So yeah, I bought the Nikon ZR. I'm loving it so far, and I can't wait to really explore, get more footage, and play more with Red RAW. This has made me, I've gone deep down in YouTube trying to learn how to color footages and how to, get the best out of this codec, and I think that's a good thing. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you would be buying Nikon ZR and what you think about the ZR so far. And yeah, see you in the next one. Cheers.